Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. All right, before we start off, which is going to be a 33-minute video, another brand new beginner's guide, because we always got to update these for brand new players. With Jinwoo's dad dropping, we know a lot of players are coming, so I'm definitely doing this for you guys to get you prepared on what to do as a brand new player. Plus, any veteran who wants to watch and support, I love you guys. Speaking of support, hit that support button, guys. Get yourself some free codes. My top 10, I want to say big shout out to BW Panda, J Stowe, Taco, Sod, Patches, 3906, I think is Kaiser, Mr. WRX, 0428, which also might be Kaiser, Telio 101, and Deeps, top 10. Thank you so much, guys. I love you all. Thank you for the supporting all the way down to the last 3,203. You guys are the best. I'm sorry I can't show everybody else. Again, it shows spending, and I don't want to do that because I know a lot of people that's personal information. But don't forget, guys. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me, and it helps the channel. Speaking of helping the channel, please hit that like, subscribe, notifications. Let's get on with the video. Get your popcorn ready, folks. This is gonna be a big one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another SLA video. That's right, we have a daddy coming through, one who went out to get some milk and never came back, but he is here now in the next 2 weeks. That's right, we are gonna get ourselves Daddy Jinwoo dropping very, very soon. If you haven't seen the news already, y'all know this is all the hype, and with that, we're probably going to see quite a few new players pop in. So this is going to be a reminder on what this man is all about and how you should get ready for him. Plus, we're going to make a little beginner's guide, because you know what? When this character drops, we're going to see a lot of new players jumping into the game and trying to get their feet wet with solo leveling a rise. So I'm going to be your host for today. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Before I do that though, if you are a brand new player or somebody who's not even supporting me, what the hell are you thinking? Don't forget, content creator program is going on. This link is pretty much in every description and video, and it's pinned. And the reason why it's so important is if you click that support button, which is free by the way, you will get some free codes. Right now we're going for 2,000 Estus stones for free, which is almost a whole multi, plus some gold and other resources coming your way. Plus we have more codes in the future. We are 13 seasons now, guys. 13 seasons, number 2 ranked right now. Let's keep pushing that and get yourself some free codes, guys. It's absolutely free. Support your boy. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Now the big news, of course, is Season 3, we haven't got a date yet for the anime, but we do have a big character drop, and one that many people have been waiting for, and that is Jinwoo's dad, Il-Hwan, Dad of the Year award next to Goku, of course. And what we're going to do, guys, is because there's going to be a lot of players coming in, we're going to start a brand new beginner's guide. I haven't done one since the 1 year anniversary. We're now going into 1.5 almost. We're about 2 months away from that, and I figured this is a good time to refresh, re-update, and give you guys the newest and greatest. So first off, right now, if you are going to be joining before he drops, we have a Idols collab going on, which I highly recommend going into because these collab units are actually really good. They're super easy and cheap to get up in terms of A5, which is advanced 5. By the way, that is the amount of dupes you need. That's advancement. When I say A, I refer to the advancements required, and these characters are actually really good, whether you're looking for 2 breakers, 1 for fire, 1 for wind, and then of course the DPS one, which is mini, which you see on my screen. They are all incredible units and very fun to use, so don't be fooled by the fact that they're just collab units. So let's talk a little bit about summoning. The first thing you're going to do when you guys jump in is go into the draw section, of course, and you're going to want to build your team. So right now, if you are going to be joining brand new, you'll have a couple of different things to help you along your way. Number 1, plenty of resources to summon with. It's crazy. So when you are playing the game, start off with story mode and go through your story. Get as many black tokens as you can, which are your basic custom summons. And I'm going to start with that first. Okay, for your custom summons, the best current team in the game still is the Win team. All right, and that is going to be comprised of Leonard right over here. He is going to be the main DPS. It's going to be Goto, who's going to be your breaker. That's right, you're going to need a breaker. And the other one that was missing in this list right now, because she's currently not out yet, she will be out very soon in the next patch, is going to be Jenna. So you want to work on that. Now with that being said, the Win team can obviously be replaced. So the Win team will pretty much carry you up to this point of the game. Right now, there's a brand new raid coming out called a Workshop of Brilliant Light. That's what we call them, aka WOBL. And it's most likely going to be a focused on dark and light, or dark and fire. Dark and fire is the one that everyone's talking about right now, is the main one based on leaks. So if you want to build a dark team and you want to wait for Il-Hwan, you can, but if you're going to build a dark team, you're going to need some supports around him. So what you want to do for the time being is you want to at the very least get yourself an Isla. This is Isla over here. She is the dark support unit. At the very least, build her and try to get yourself some dark weapons as well. If you need to work with dark, the best 2 dark weapons in the game are going to be the Plum Sword and and the Moon Shadow daggers. They're a little out of date. Personally, if I was anybody else, I would still go with the Stormbringer just for full content. If you're brand new, this is the best buffing weapon in the game by far. And then of course the staff here, which you can combine the two and do massive damage. If you're looking for a video in terms of how to use these two effectively, please go check that out. But if you're looking for full dark to maximize the amount of dark damage you do, plus the buffs you can give and debuffs you can provide on the opponents, Moon Shadow daggers and Plum Sword are still the two best dark weapons in the game. Just so everyone knows, there may be a light weapon coming in the future as well too. Okay, so those are the best weapons to go for. But right now, if you're looking to build a dark team, Isla for sure. Unfortunately, we have Harper as the breaker, but there is going to be a breaker after Il-Hwan, who's going to be dark as well, so you can wait for that. But if you want to desperately use dark as your main team, that's who you want to go. You want to go Isla, Harper as your breaker, and then summon for Il-Hwan, or you go for Mini, which is the collab unit that we just talked about on Idol, and you can get her to A5 a lot faster and easier with the new rates and how easy it is to pull them. Plus the 50-50 guarantees you one of those units. Not to mention, if you don't want to do dark and you don't care about Il-Hwan, you can definitely build fire as well after wind. Fire, you want to probably go with Kanae, the brand new idol Yuki, and Gina. All right, those are the three units you absolutely want to build. So Gina, Kanae, and Yuki. Now Yusuyun is a very good option as well for dark if you plan to go with dark fire for fire. So if you don't want to go for Kanae because you don't like her playstyle, you prefer someone more ranged, then Yusuyun is fantastic. So that's what I would do right there, guys, in terms of building. So for weapons, just to break down again, Stormbringer and Staff, the main weapons pretty much carry you throughout the entire game. You don't need any elemental bonuses for these. They just hit so hard together. But you need at least an advancement 5 for Stormbringer and an advancement 5 for the Staff. So it is very, very pricey. And then again, if you are looking to do just dark specifically, then you want to go with Moon Shadow daggers and Plum. Ideally, again, advancement 5, advancement 5. Don't be fooled, guys. It's not hard to get advancement 5. This is my free-to-play account. I've got a lot of advancement 5s, but it does take time. So keep that in mind, okay? Now, if you were to pull from the collab unit, because you want one of the collab units, the two best units are going to be Mini for dark DPS, but she may be replaced by Il-Hwan when he comes out, and of course Yuki and Suyun is not as profitable as the other two. So these two for sure are going to be what you want depending on what you want to build. All right, now in terms of custom weapons, as mentioned, depending what you're looking for, I still will go Staff and Stormbringer in terms of overall content, and you can place them here as well and pull them. Don't forget also to join a guild, which we'll talk about later. All right, so that's your summoning. So once you get into the game, guys, main thing as usual, as always, go through your story mode. Complete story mode. It's very, very important that you do, because the more you complete, the more trophies you're going to get. More trophies equals more essence stones every week, and not to mention you're going to get yourself a ton of custom draw tickets and other things along the way, including essence stones, resources, etc. Okay, so story mode is going to be your #1 focus. Get that done. Move over to hard mode. Once hard mode is complete, move over to expert mode. Once hard mode is complete, move over to reverse. One thing to note about reverse, it does not give you experience points for your account. It's strictly for gold, shadow stuff, etc. Right? So speaking of shadow stuff, once you unlock the Shadow Army, you're going to want to build this ASAP, okay? These guys are going to be a big point of your power. So you guys can see mine is 1.036. That's free to play. That's million. They make up almost half your power. It's very, very important, guys, to always unlock every single shadow and push every single shadow to general so you can unlock their weapons and you can skill those up, and then also unlock their skills so you guys can level up their skills and push even more power. Whenever you equip a shadow, they give you a massive boost to your overall power, and power in this game is everything. Okay, so make sure, guys, you do focus on that. Who do you want to unlock first? Always the order, in my opinion, is Igris first. Igris is always the best shadow and always will be the best shadow because he gives crit rate, and you guys can check out how crit rate works in this game. It doesn't stop at only 50%, guys, and a specific number of 4,000, whatever. The higher the level of the mob, the more crit resistance they have, so you need to add more crit resistance or crit to your actual numbers. You can go check out my crit resist video, or how crit works in general, okay? So Igris is #1. #2, I would say, is Bestie. #3, I'd say is Serbi, and #4, I'd say is Beru. Those are probably going to be your best ones. Skull is a very good option as well, too, if you like his design. Those are probably the top 5 I would stick with, and then Iron, of course, is always a great option as well for defense down, but the problem is with him, it doesn't stack with Shadow Step defense down, so keep that in mind. So that's why Skull kind of has a little bit more of love. And also Big Rock is pretty good if you build him. He does give a bonus to all skills, including weapon skills and regular skills. So guys, make sure you focus on this. I have plenty of shadow videos out. Go check those out if you need to see what this is all about and how to handle it. It'll go through everything for you from top to bottom. All right, so make sure you do that, guys. So go through the story mode, get your EXP, and then once you unlock a few things, the next thing you're going to focus on, guys, is going to be Battlefield of Trials. This is another place here where you're going to get a massive amount of resources and trophies, and you want to try to complete as much of this as you can. There's a player side and a hunter side. Okay, each level is the same. The only difference is with player, you get Sun Jinwoo plus the hunters. With hunters, you only get to use the hunters. Very important, guys, to again try to get as much maximum trophies as possible. The reason behind that is every week you are given a certain amount, you guys can see I'm first place on my server, of essence stones, which is your main currency for summoning, and you guys can get these. The more you get, the more of these you'll be able to collect, right? So you guys can see here, I'm at where are we at here? Like almost maxed out, almost. So you can see it tells you exactly how many you need, and we're missing quite a bit. Okay, so the only thing I haven't really done is Simulation Gate 40 because I've been too lazy, but I'm saving that for a rainy day. All right, guys, so that's one thing you absolutely want to focus on. Again, push it as much as you can until you can't go any further, and then you switch gears over to doing other things. So while you're doing this, though, you're going to also need to farm quite a bit of Encore missions and instance dungeons. Encore missions are hunters only, and it drops two bosses always, and they rotate. There's a rotation of weekly bosses, but they always drop the same gear. So it's always going to be arms and legs here, and it's going to be head and body here. And then for Jinwoo's instances, where you actually use him, it's always accessories. All right, so the left side is hunters, the right side is Jinwoo, and you actually want to always do this, guys. Never let your keys max out unless there's an event coming up. So do this as much as you possibly can. Farm gear. One thing to remember, up to stage 20 now, they've added all elements, so you can use any element to advance. And once you get to tier 30, you don't have to go and do all the back ones. Okay, this is important because a lot of people will do this. Don't use your keys to do one at a time. Go as far as you possibly can. If you hit a tier that's not 31, just hit 30 if you can, or 20 or whatever. It'll backtrack and give you all the essence stones and trophies for the previous one. So don't do them one at a time. And also down here, you guys can use up to 5 keys as free to play, up to 10 keys as pay to win. Actually 20 keys I think now as pay to win. So you guys can get those as well too. Okay, very, very important. You definitely need to farm this, and you will need the proper stats. So make sure you do this, guys. Get it, because this is going to be a big part of your growth. And if you need to know anything about artifacts, which ones are the best artifacts with which units, including Sun Jinwoo, you guys can go check out my artifact tier list. We have that out. I think it's still up to date to some extent, so you guys will get all the information you absolutely need. All right, so this is important, guys. Make sure you use your keys. Once you do this, also do your gates daily, guys. In my opinion, brand new players, you should always refresh at least 2 keys a day to get as much shadow energy out of this as you possibly can, plus extra resources. Always try to do A to S gate keys if you can. You cannot skip them, by the way, but you can at least do them manually or auto. When you do mining, which is what happens with your gates, you get resources and you mine them. You will actually, with A and S's, you guys can see I didn't do any today because I'm lazy fuck. You can get yourself essence stones as well too. So there's a lot of essence stones to be had through this game, and this is another great way to do it. This is Hunter's only logo, and then of course the SJW ones are going to be the ones with his face. So just keep that in mind. You want to do at least 1 red gate as much as possible, at least 1. Do as many of them as you can though. The reason why is because it's a daily for your guild as well. So that's very important to remember. And also make sure you always do minimum, like I said, try to refresh 1 or 2 keys a day on top of what the 10 that you get, and then always collect these active bonuses. Okay, speaking of active bonuses, all right, there's a bond system here. So whenever you get a hunter, guys, try to level up as many hunters to the max level that you can, because it actually affects your idol. So you're gonna have an idol over here. You'll be able to collect a lot of things along the way. Also, just so you guys are aware, it goes up to 720 hours max. You guys don't have to stop at 48, which is what it shows. The more you collect, the bigger this pool gets. But if you are, especially at max level eventually, and you are waiting for another level to come out, try to complete this full 720, because when another one comes out, you can get a level or 2 for free. But this is all affected by various things. The main thing is going to be your activity in terms of how far you were in the game and the level of your hunters. So you can see all of that here, right? You guys can see the more hunters you level up, the more you get through that. All right, so very important. So it's based off of Jinwoo's stage, which is of course based off of the EXP that you get for him, and then of course all your hunters here. So this is all going to be influenced by that. Very, very important, guys, to level up your hunters. And the more advancements you get of each hunter, you want to always aim for A5 for the best ones. The bonds will be effective, where again you can get yourself a plethora, and I mean a plethora of free rewards along the way. Guys, one thing I want to say this, if you're brand new, this game is absolutely going to be one of the most free to play friendly games you'll ever play, not to mention one of the most generous games ever for a gacha game specifically. So very important to remember that. Okay, so now once you've got enough like Encore missions under your belt, you're getting some gear now, you're doing your Battlefield of Trials, and you've hit a little snatch in terms of where you are in progress. You're going to want to do Battlefield of Time, and whenever this unlocks, you should do it anyways. Do the challenges weekly, guys, because these challenges give you guys a lot of free rewards. You guys can see right over here, each boss is super easy to do. Takes a few seconds here and there. I've got to go ahead and do mine. I got 3 days left, and then do the Battlefield of Time challenges. There's a lot of great content creators out there who will show you guys how to do these. I'm okay at it. I do them live mostly. I don't really make many guides, but there's many good people out there who can show you how to do it as a free-to-play player or to be a pay-to-win player. Remember, if you're pay-to-win in this game, spend responsibly. All right. Now, once you've done the Battlefield of Time, you're going to get some rewards every single boss you kill, and when there's a calculation period, you'll be able to go into the shop over here once you collect the rewards and get yourself some free stuff under the exchange shop, right under Battlefield of Time exchange right here, where you can exchange for tickets, abyssal crystals, mark of times, etc. We'll talk more about those afterwards, okay? But a lot of free rewards just by doing that, so you never want to miss that. Not to mention, whenever you beat a boss and you do a good time, you'll actually be able to get yourself things like essence stones over here and additional items along the way. So make sure you always participate in this, guys. It is a monthly event, usually every patch. X amount of bosses, kill those bosses, you get rewards. It's really fun and it's super easy to do. It's also very frustrating at the same time. All right, and then eventually you're going to unlock Power of Destruction, which is where you fight a massive dragon, and the dragon has 2 elements attached to it. You're going to start with easy mode first, then you're going to move on to normal mode, and then you're going to move on to hard mode eventually when you're there. And then there's always 2 elements. With hard mode, when you eventually get there, you can only use the same hunters once and the same weapons once, and you have to switch the next one. Normal mode, you can only use the hunters once, but weapons you can use as many times as you want. In easy mode, it's a joke. You'll get through it. The beauty of doing this is there's a lot of free rewards to be had here, guys. So make sure you do this on a weekly basis. It's a lot of fun. If you need POD videos, I'm honestly not your guy for that. I'm not great at POD. I'm okay at POD, but you guys can check out a lot of other content creators who can walk you through it. But just keep in mind, those are some very elite players, so don't expect to be able to do the same performance as them. But I've done enough videos where I can give you the gist of how all this works and some of the best setups you can use. But there are much better players out there for that. So shout out to those content creators out there. Okay. So once you've done that, guys, and you've unlocked gems will unlock on chapter 13, I believe. You'll be able to do Battlefield of Chaos. Now, you always want to max out your gems right away. Every single slot, it doesn't matter what the gem level is, just max out your gems, because you want to, the more gems you unlock, the more slots you unlock, which means the more power you're going to get, and you can replace those gems once you get better ones. So you want to go page 1 right into page 2 and complete this. Now, just so everyone is understanding here, percentage gems are better if you have unlocked your shadow's weapon, okay, because it scales off of their weapon as well, and it gives them more power, which in turn gives you more power. So you want to go percentages here, and in terms of the purples, you guys can go check out the videos. In terms of oranges, you can check out the videos. I've done a lot of gem videos. They're all up to date, so go check that out. But absolutely never ever max this out. Try to use these as much as possible, because it's super easy and it's great resources for you and a great growth of power that you don't want to slack on. Okay, so gems are going to be a make or break situation for many players. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Once you're far enough into the game, you're going to unlock Workshop of Brilliant Light. This is my personal favorite mode in the game. This is where you fight the monarchs and their henchmen. All right, so you guys can see, for example, Baran, you're going to fight Vulcan first. Once you beat Vulcan, you can fight Baran. Usually I think you'll have to do easy mode for Baran to unlock, and then once you beat Baran, you can move over to Deimos and Yogurt Berry. That's why I call him Yogurt Berry. It's Yogamon, but Deimos over here, and then Yogamon. And we have a brand new WOBL coming out as well too, very soon, in the next, I think, patch actually. And we have a henchman, and then we have ourselves the next monarch, right, which is Tarnak, I believe. So it's very exciting. This is my favorite mode. The main thing you have to focus on is there's always 2 elements attached to every single monarch and their henchmen. So every WOBL is different, so you're going to eventually need to build one of every element team, at least, with the proper weapons for Sun Jinwoo. And it usually works out as where there's a hunter mode and a Sun Jinwoo mode, and then you guys take turns, so you're going to need to equally be there for that. Now, I've done a ton of free-to-play guides on all of these, so you can go check those out. They're not out of date, they're older, but it's way harder back in the day to do these, so you're going to have a big plus in terms of how to handle all of this when you jump on, because the game has become a lot more friendly in terms of that. Okay, so WOBL is where you get all of your cores. Cores are going to be a big part of it, and we'll talk more about cores when I do the breakdown of Jinwoo and how to build him, etc. Okay, and then Simulation Gate. Simulation Gate is a place where you will get yourself these books here, and these books will allow you guys to enchant your gear, which gives you additional stats. Okay, so very important, guys, to make sure you do your simulations. It's a massive power gain, the one you don't want to miss out on. Plus, every time you get these tokens, right over here, you guys can see they're called dimensional discs. You can get yourself free loot along the way every single week, and it's actually really important loot. So don't miss out on that, guys. Very important. Plus, the first time you complete any of these tiers, you guys will get essence stones, and I mean a ton of essence stones. So a great way to also boost your summoning. So get on that and make sure you do those every single week. You can do 2 tickets for free to play and more as pay to win. They just recently also added in multiplayer Cardin and Temple co-op battle. Do these as well too, guys. You guys can see I got 7 keys. This will give you guys more rewards as well too. So when you jump on, you can either form a team randomly with matchmaking, or you can create a team and play with friends. And also it's a big fight and a lot of fun. So make sure, guys, you always do these. There's the guild boss as well. We'll talk more about guild boss shortly. And then there's a solo dungeon if you can't find friends, and if you're a loner, you'd rather do this on your own. That's up to you on that one. Okay, so there you guys go. That is co-op. Go check out the videos on co-op. I've got a few of those as well too, and they'll help you out. All right, now we've pretty much covered everything here that you need to know. The only thing I'm missing here is the Hunter Archive. Hunter Archive here is going to be a story for each hunter. You can check out their origins, a little bit of background on them. Plus you have these keys where you can unlock every single hunter that you have or don't have. And then when you guys do the battles, they'll give you essence stones. And then eventually you'll get to do these secret library battles, which when you complete and get enough points, you'll get these rewards for every single character. And at the end is a free costume for your characters to use called a chroma. So make sure you guys do all of these. These should not be forgotten. They're a big source of easy summon tickets and other things. And speaking of summon tickets, if you are going to be free to play, there is a hunter preview section right here. You got every hunter that you use to do the preview on. You guys can see I've got a couple right there. You will get yourself some free summoning tickets. So don't neglect this, guys. Get this done and get yourself some free stuff. All right, so very easy. Now let's talk a little bit about artifacts before we go into everything else. Artifacts, there are many artifacts in this game. There's headpieces, body, hands, feet, and then of course we got the necklace, the bracers, the rings, and the earrings. So one thing to note, for crit rate, you can only get them on the left side, which is your main gear. For crit damage, you can only get it on the right. The rest of the stats are good, except for elemental stats, which you can only get on the bracers. Very important to know that. Try to match the elemental stat to the elemental unit you're using. Don't do the opposite, because you're missing out on a lot of damage. Now, the way it works with artifacts is very simple, guys. You enhance them when you get them. You always want to aim for the 2 main stats for each character. If you want to know what characters use, you can go check out their skills. Their skills will say, hey, this character, procs off of defense or HP or attack, and that'll be their main stat. So someone who's based off of HP, that's their attack stat. So consider that their attack stat. Anyone who's an attack unit will obviously want attack. Anyone who's defense will obviously want defense, right? So you want a good balance of crit rate, crit damage, defense penetration, damage increase, and then their main stat. And ideally every artifact should have 2 of the main stats. So attack, right? So you guys can see here, for example, this one doesn't have that. It's a bad example, but if I find a better one, right, you guys can see over here, for example, let's find something that's not a ring. Over here, additional defense percentage, right? You want 2 of the main stats there for your unit. So Minnie's a defensive unit, so these are her attack bonuses. So you want as many pluses in here as you can. When you enhance every 5 levels up to level 20, you will get a plus bonus to a random stat. So you don't want to have this ever happen, balances. You want the pluses to go on to the main stats. They are now introducing modification, which means you can go in, and if you don't like the stats that you have, eventually you can modify those for free and re-roll everything. So this is something brand new to the game. It's usually event driven, but it's going to be a permanent feature they're adding. So you're coming in at a perfect time, guys. So if you want to know which artifacts are best for what hunters, go check out my artifact tier list. That will be set up for you. Now, as for Jinwoo, he is mostly attack based. We do a little bit of stats here. You guys can see at the beginning, you probably want to go all strength. It's pretty straightforward. You just do as much damage as possible. When you start getting into the middle game, you might want to, reverse some of that strength into perception. Perception just means min-max damage-wise. You'll just do the maximum damage, but you lose a little bit of attack, of course. And if you are into the late game, you want to start focusing off of perception because you'll have your gems to give you that. And you want to focus on intelligence. Just so you're aware, perception is affected by the amount of dupes you get in weapons. You guys can see here, precision is actually in the dupe. So the higher the dupe, the higher the precision, which means less stats you have to put into that. And then, of course, there's the skills and blessing stones. I have a full guide on what you should be using for Jinwoo. I have the best setup guide for him. Go check it out. It's very recent, very new. And you guys should definitely look at that before you jump on so you know what to aim for while you're doing it. Not to mention, he's also got jobs, obviously, right? So the more you go through the game, these little job change conditions, once you've completed them, you'll get yourself brand new rewards, brand new ultimates, brand new costumes for him. him, and of course you'll unlock additional blessing stones and skills as you go along. So guys, go check out the guide. It'll walk you through everything you need to know for Sun Jinwoo in terms of stats, gear, what you're looking for weapon wise, what blessing stones are the best, what skills to use, etc. It's all there for you, including cores, right? Cores are there as well too. So these are your cores, and this is what you get from the WOBL, which again is the Workshop of Brilliant Light. And same thing goes for hunters, guys. I've got a full hunters guide set up in terms of what to go for hunters. The only difference with hunters and Sun Jinwoo is the fact that they use one weapon versus two, which he uses both, and then they use also these cores as well too. Their cores are going to be a little bit different depending on who you're using. And then lastly, their skills. Their skills are a little different. One thing I will tell you guys, I always check the skill guide in terms of seeing how the rotation should work. It's actually very, very accurate. Plus, they give you a nifty little icon over here you can press to tell you which skill to level up first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So go in that order. Very, very important, guys. Again, I have all the hunters in a guide tier list to tell you which ones are the best hunters, which ones are the best teams, and of course which artifacts should go on which hunters as well too. So you can check that out on the channel, guys. My channel literally has almost up to 2,000 videos on this game, so very, very important. All right, now we've covered the main things. Let's talk a little bit about the rest of the menus and what you should focus on. So when you're starting brand new, guys, challenges is going to be a big part of it. You're going to get so many different summon tickets and everything else along the way. You're going to start with chapter 1. You're going to move all the way down to chapter 40, and along the way, that's going to give you guys plenty of summons. And not to mention, I believe you guys have the mode called, I forgot what it's called, something Battle of the Contender or some shit like that. Anyways, it will gives you free chas, gives you free summons, gives you free cha weapons, and a free main Lin, plus additional summoning tokens across the board. This game is so free to play friendly. You're going to be swimming in these, so just make sure you're using it correctly. But challenge mode is something you should absolutely be focusing on, guys, when you get there. Okay, let's talk about weapons. All right, so Sun Jinwoo has his own weapons. Hunters have their own weapons. Okay, there are weapons that everybody can use. Everybody can use anyone's weapons realistically, but every time you equip the right weapon on the right unit, you also get their exclusive weapon bonus. You guys can see where it's down here for minis, for example. And also for Sun Jinwoo, these are weapons. Remember, there's different elements. So there's light element, wind element, fire element, dark element, and water element. So make sure, guys, you try to usually pair the ones that match the other element, but sometimes, like with the Stormbringer, for example, you don't need to do that. You can match different elements to have the best possible outcomes. Okay, so weapons are a big part, and the more you advance weapons, the more passives you will unlock. And then once you hit past advancement 5, you'll see it goes to +2, +5, for example. You'll unlock these extra stats over here, which will give you up to 15% extra HP, attack, and defense. Remember though, that cannot be seen on the stat sheet, so that's an important one. All right, guys, so very important, guys, to make sure you focus on advancing your weapons, especially the ones you're going to use very, very often. Okay, so that's pretty much it right there for that one. Now, in regards to the rest of this section here, achievements. There are a couple ways to get a lot of essence stones through achievements. The growth section is a great example of that. So the more things you advance in the growth section, for example, hitting certain levels, advancing his weapons, Sun Jinwoo's weapons, you'll get yourself a lot of essence stones. And a great way of doing this is just advancing rare weapons. Just advance as many rare weapons as you can, so you're not killing your gold and your time. And at the same time, this will give you guys a lot of essence stones. As mentioned right over here, you guys can see there's quite a bit of it right here. Okay, and then that's one you definitely want to focus on. Try to get as much of these achievements as you can completed, and that will give you guys a lot more resources to use and have fun with. All right, so now let's move over here to let's see what else is important. We talked about bonds. Crafting. All right, crafting is a good one. Now crafting, they do a lot of free things. When there's an event unit out, or event units in this case out, you get these free events going on that allow you to accumulate these fragments or designs, and you guys can use those designs every 100 to get a free weapon for the hunter. And then of course there's a free weapon you can craft here using these golden tickets every single week, so make sure you take a look at those as well. This section over here allows you to craft resources for additional things like leveling up cores, growth systems for hunters, hunter skills, Sun Jinwoo skills, and then of course just these holy melding cubes that allow you to advance weapons even further, and then things like the artifact reforged stone. Again, I've got a video on all of this, guys. I don't want to go too much, but just in case you need it, it's there for you. Okay, and you can break it down even further there for different materials that you can have. And then of course, as mentioned, if you don't want to do the event ones, every single hunter's weapon is listed here, as well as the featured ones for Sun Jinwoo as well too. Right here, you guys can see it's the spear, and then other things going on as well too. And then they have the crafting of artifact system. So once you start collecting enough of these through instances and encores, you're able to craft artifacts using these things called prisms, and prisms allow you to choose a main stat and substats up to 2 substats, and then you can roll on those based on the artifact you're looking for. So you guys can see right here, you can choose the slot for artifact and the kind of artifact you want to focus on. So very, very good thing to use. There's an event going on that's a bit better, but this is always available to you for free. All right, Fusion. This is where you're going to get yourself heroic and legendary, and actually heroic and legendary skills, blessing stones, gems, and melding books. So this is a very important place. You'll be able to collect these throughout your whole gameplay. The rune fragments for skills. We got ourselves blessing powder for blessing stones, and then we have ourselves right here. You guys can see them, right? Blessing powders, powder of blessing. And then more gems you get, you can upgrade them to higher levels, including the same thing with books. So fusion is a very, very important part. Definitely a big part of the game that you're going to be focusing on quite a bit as you advance through it, okay? Mining we talked about already. This is where you will mine all of your gates that you farmed, right? And again, gates are super important. Do 2 extra bonuses a day. So that's a very important one. Make sure you log on at least once or twice a day to do it. But try to save 3 before the reset. That way, because there's a daily that they have to collect enough gates. I think it's 3. So make sure you leave 3 alone. And then when the reset happens, you can simply get that one out of the way by just clicking the accept button, okay? Special commission. As you do gates, play the story mode, you're going to be able to kill a certain amount of mobs. These mobs, when they're killed enough times, will give you guys essence stones, and when you hit enough points, you'll get yourself some more summoning tokens. When I say this game is free-to-play friendly, guys, I mean it's free-to-play friendly, all right? So super, super free-to-play friendly. All right, let's move on here. Shadow Enforcers just came out. It's in beta. This is pretty much your Encore missions that you can send your shadows out to do for free loot, all right? So for example, let's say you want shadow stuff, right? I'm going to go ahead and assign something that I want. Let's say I want to get myself more shadow essences. In this case, I'm going to go pick a shadow that has the proper stuff. So Beru, for example, is good for this one. I'm going to send them out. 2 days, all right? I'll get 415 more essence for shadows, okay? And again, you can do different ones. You can do ones for enhancement of gear or weapons. You can do ones with more gold. You can do ones for hunter skills. Like again, there's a lot out here, right? So just take a look around, guys, and see what makes sense to you as a player. For example, if I want to get more gold, I'm going to send this guy out, right? Let's just say here I choose gold. That's in 2 days, I'll get that extra gold right there. So very simple, very easy to do. It just takes a couple seconds to hit the buttons, and your shadows are out doing your dirty work, and hopefully not killing too many people along the way. But there you guys go, right there, mission start. And we have 1 more mission. You start off with 3, by the way. Eventually you advance to open up 4. So very important to remember that. You don't expect to see this until you get to level 3, I believe, in order to see that right down here, right? So you guys go 4 out of 4, all gone. And when they come back in 2 days, I will have free resources waiting for me. All right, Armory. So this place is automatic. This will, first page you're going to open up, you have 3 slots you can unlock, and then from there you got to pay essence stones and marks of time. So when you unlock these guys, they'll put your best weapons that you have in slot, and as you level up those weapons, your power will grow. You guys can see my armory gives 273,000 power on top of whatever the shadows give and what I have from artifacts. And what you want to do, guys, essentially is you want to use these marks of times to level up these slots. So you're going to start with level 1, you can go all the way to level 10, and these marks of times are pretty easy in the beginning to get, but they get more and more difficult as you advance. And again, top 10 is right there, max. And then you want to do this across the board evenly, guys. Even it out. Don't just go 1 all the way to 7 and then go 1, 1, 1, 1. Go 1 across the board, 2 across the board, 3, etc. Right? So you get more power that way, and it's a lot less resource extensive. But this is a very important part of the game. So again, the more weapons you get, the more you collect. You level those weapons up, automatically your armory levels up with that weapon. So let's say if this is level 1 and I get it to level 100, my entire armory will level up as well too. So it's important to level up the weapons that sit in here in order to gain more power. All right, Hunter Preview, we talked about battle tier. All right, this is where you are in terms of your total power. You guys can see on my free-to-play, I'm at 2.72 million. The next one here is 2.74, which should put me at over 74, and I'll get myself free essence stones and gold. The purpose of this is to keep track of your power, but also allows you to see and unlock certain things. So, for example, armory is locked behind power. So if the more power you get, the more slots you can unlock. So it's very important to remember that. Check out my armory guides for that. Skill research just came out last patch. This is to advance your legendary skills to mythical skills, and then from there, after you've done that, you can amplify them to give them additional damage and stats. All right, so you can check out my full video on that. It's pretty extensive, and you guys can see what that's all about. But that is whale territory, so don't even worry about that. Okay, gems we talked about. Challenge medals, pretty much your achievements. You're gonna do certain challenges, you're gonna get achievements. They're for fun, cosmetic, nothing big there. And then of course down here we have costume codex when you unlock more costumes, the forums, tutorials, etc. All right, now there's always battle passes every month. There's a free to play battle pass is the common one. They give us a lot of free stuff and a lot of free summoning, a lot of free resources. Always do these, guys. Never neglect these. Try to get them done. And then every week you're going to have another battle pass called the Hunter Association Growth Pass, where you can choose 4 different topics ranging from shadows to EXP to skills, etc. Choose the one that suits you best and what you need most and take advantage of it, okay? But outside of that, always get these done. Very, very important to do them, and they're super easy, okay? Now, the last thing I want to talk about real quick is this section, the event section. Every time there's a brand new event, it'll be found in here. You guys can do things like, you know, main stage fighters on the stage, which is the new idol collab, Carton and Temple co-op, special dice, which comes with, you know, every new unit that drops. It's always alternative between this and the capsule machine, which again you guys can check out in any video. There's always a hunter growth tournament. The more you summon on these hunters, for example, the more free things you'll get along the way. Plus every week they'll give you a free summoning token. You guys can see in 22 hours it's going to be another free one. There's a crafting event going on right now, which is a bit better than the existing one that's permanent. There's a mod, the Maze artifact modification. If you have anything you need to modify in terms of resetting stats, this is what I was referring to. This will become a permanent feature very soon as well. New costume releases, so these are costumes that come with the new characters you guys can buy, etc. Right? So always check out the event tab and always take advantage of it. With that being said, that's pretty much everything, guys, that you guys need to know. Again, my entire channel is built around solo leveling, and it is a library of insane information. Go check it out, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.